Buckaroos. It is season 3. I think episode 3, maybe? I can't keep track. This is the Sports Buckaroo podcast, available on all your podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, wherever else, whoozy whatsy, tickety talk, the YouTube, the Tweeter twits.
What is up, Buckaroos?
Hey, Buckaroo, how you doing?
Very well. Sorry for the delay.
Hey, no, we're not on a corporate timeline, buddy. That's the whole beauty of this. So
right.
we get to pick our poison. It could be Wednesday, it could be Thursday, it could be morning, it could be noon. It's more about the conversation than the what do they call that? We're not on rails. We're not on a hamster wheel.
No, we're on a train that crashes.
Oh my gosh!
Derailed.
I'm not picking that one up.
It's not enough time. Not enough time has passed. Okay, sorry.
You're coming out hot. You're coming out hot.
Yeah.
So
today.
I mean, there's only 9. It's not like there's 12 or 15 things that could be dangerous in the air. It's just 9. So, so look at, relative to the amount of things that are in the air, it's just 9. So,
yeah.
I've had a crazy week. My schedule has all just been moved all around. I've had so here's the question. Do you get unexpected charges on a card? Like, does that ever happen?
Oh yeah, I've got. I noticed that when you buy things, it doesn't always tell you the right vendor. It doesn't match. So you're like 2 weeks goes by, you're like, what the hell is this? What is this thing?
Right.
Because it doesn't match.
Right.
Because the names are different.
Yes.
So that confuses me.
Yes.
But I've been having more issues with just random emails going to people and hitting me, and I can't tell if it's a real email. I'm more in email jail than charges.
Yeah, so what's been happening to me, and I just want to, I just kind of want to put it out there and see if anybody else is having the same experience. But my payment for, say, my car payment, right? It's on auto pay, right? I won't say which bank I'm using, but it's on auto pay, and it's supposed to come out on a certain day of the month, right? And they send you the little notice. They're like, you approve that, on or about this day we will, deduct this car payment, right? And you say, yeah, sure. I'm on auto pay, right? And what I've noticed over the last few months, it's been maybe the last 6 months, right, is even though my payment is due, let's just throw an arbitrary number, say the 10th, okay? Even though my payment is due the 10th, and that's what I signed up for my auto pay, because of bank holidays and weird weekends and thises and that's, I'm getting pinged on the 7th or the 8th or the 9th. They're grabbing it 2 or 3 days early, right? Even though it's due the 10th. And
that's not good, because I need to know.
Right.
I have some auto pay stuff, and I need to know hey, this is going to happen on this date. This is going to happen on this date. Otherwise, you just lose control. You just don't know what's going on.
Yeah. So I've been having an issue with a couple of I've just noticed it. I've got several things set up on the auto pay, and I know that on the 28th this hits, and on the whatever. And so I had an issue with an Apple payment that was on auto pay, and so I made the payment. And then I got the notice that it came out, but then it didn't actually hit for 3 days. And so there was some kind of discrepancy with the moving of the money or something. Because I do it like Dave Ramsey, right? I literally, my account that's exposed out into the world doesn't ever have anything in it except for what's coming up, right? So I kind of milk it over there so I'm not exposed for a scam or something, right?
Yeah, so you put your credit card in, your bank card in a in one of those skimmers. The next thing you know, they hit you.
Right.
It's a big mess.
Anyway, so I've been, very well, but what's happening is the dates that I've agreed to, they're all in my Google Docs calendar, like they're not. And so this is what I'm worried about. I'm wondering if other people are having this experience and if there's some kind of economic issue where these banks are basically trying to scoop up money, a couple of days early to catch a couple of days of interest. Do you know what I mean?
I think that there's 100% chance they're doing that. They're trying to, everything they're doing is trying to get it so they can skim every last penny on interest on those dates. Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm not throwing pejoratives at any of the banking institutions. I'm very grateful that they've, set up a situation where I don't have to, shell out $30,000 for the car on day one. I'm glad they'll let me do it over a couple of years. But the thing is, because I like driving around rather than walking. But that being said, I just wonder, I just noticed it, and I'm wondering if anybody else out there is having that experience of things getting pinged early.
Well, I would say the obvious thing that needs to happen now is folks have to go to our YouTube channel and they have to type in the comments below, like and subscribe, and then let us know if they've had similar experiences with their auto payments or other payments that are set to auto pay that are being paid in different days than they've selected, or there's some discrepancy.
Yeah.
Because this is not something we want to have happen to anyone else.
It would be great if there was a notification bell that people could punch for their auto pay. So you get a little notification bell. It says, "Hey, this is about to come out in the next hour. Just double check that you moved your Dave Ramsey money over." That would be nice.
I've noticed that some vendors are much better about that than others. And I won't talk about which vendors tend to not want to remind you have a payment coming up, but they're out there.
Yeah, and you know what's cool? The word vendor, right? That's like Latin. And then, of course, you've got your romantic languages, French, Italian, Spanish. Like, vendido is like, to sell. I sell. I think it's really cool, the word vendor. I think it's, we go all the way back to the original vendors.
The word vendor is sort of like using the word client. So you just sound like you know what you're talking about if you have clients. You don't just say like,
oh yeah,
I'm working at the grocery store. I'm bagging groceries. I'm working it, and my clients are there getting their groceries. Doesn't that sound a little bit better?
Yes, it does.
I think vendor is one of those words like, oh, which vendor are you using for those bags?
Right.
Oh, my client asked me which vendor I use to get these bags that I'm putting your groceries in. It just it's just so much more corporate. It's like, it's just something you have to add into the mix.
Yeah, I like to, whenever I'm talking to someone, I try to ask them if they're a fiduciary.
Oh, don't even get me started on I got the funniest stories in the background over some friends of friends that are money managers, and don't get me started, but let me just tell you, it's all a big scam, folks. And when you call them on it, you find out real quick they don't want you to figure out that it's all a scam.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of scams, I wanted to take a moment. I received something this week. I received something in the mail, unexpected and unannounced. It was glorious. About a week or two ago, you had declared that I was the most valuable player on the podcast. I think that was awesome.
On the podcast last week.
Yeah,
that one show. You were
right.
the most valuable
player. And so
I think you deserved it. Yeah.
So this week I actually received my MVP trophy.
Yes.
Presented to SportsBuckaroo Season 3, All Hat No Cattle. I have it. I've got it in my hands right now. I've got it proudly on my podcasting station. and I will post it there. Now the thing is you said that's a weekly award. Am I supposed to expect to get these? Like, am I going to clutter my place with a bunch of these, or is that for the season?
For those that don't know how this came about, I am sort of done with sports leagues creating awards for their employees, and just it's not good enough now that they just play the game. They now have to be the MVP of the game or the MVP of the season or the comeback player of the year. So I decided we're just going to give ourselves awards. And since it's just you and I on a podcast, I figured, why not give you the MVP of the podcast? So and now you have an actual trophy, and you're just collecting trophies. You're just collecting them.
So what I did is
chips, as they say in the business, collecting chips.
So I was with my mom when the package arrived, and I was like, "What the hell is this? It has my name on it. What the hell is this?" And I was like trying to figure out what Amazon thing I ordered. I was like, "What?" So and then all of a sudden it like dawned on me. I was like, "This can't be. And so I made my mom turn on the camera, and she actually documented me opening my award. So I will post that on the YouTube and the TikTok later of me on the couch receiving the MVP for season 3. I think it's awesome. I would like to thank the Academy of podcasting professionals and amateurs.
Are there any small people, though, that you've stepped on to get to where you are that you'd like to thank or remember?
I mean, I actually did come across Vern Troyer once when I was at a bar in LA. That's about. Oh, wow. Wait. Is that? Oh, sorry. No, that wasn't what you were talking about. Yeah.
So Vern, if you're listening,
he passed away. Rest in peace.
Oh, wait. Well, if you can hear me in heaven.
He was okay. I'm going to tell you the story though. So I'm at this it's like this Irish bar on Sunset. Okay. It's like I'm name dropping, right? Vern Troyer, mini-me, the name drop of all name drops. But I'm at this bar just, minding my own business. And these two like huge, like I'm talking 6'4", like bouncer bodyguard type guys walk in, right? And they look kind of like Adidas, tracksuit kind of, but you can tell they're kind of like bodyguards, right? I'm like, oh my God. And then these two, like, I think it was two, maybe more. I mean, bombshell playmates walk in. And I'm talking like, you know where you stand when someone that hot and beautiful walks in. You're just like, whoa. And then right behind them, like, or kind of like almost like as in a presentation style, Vern Troyer walks in. And he was like decked out, looking all, like ready for the club and experience. But it was like he walked, and then it was so strange because like everyone like saw these people walk in, and it like tiered from like 6'4" to like 5'6" to like 2.5 feet or 3 feet or whatever, how tall. But it was like everyone's gaze just like arched down. But it was fascinating because he walked into that club with like swagger. I mean, just swagger.
Now, would you forgive me that I don't know who you're talking about?
Mini-me from Austin
Jesus.
Powers. Yeah. Mini-me.
Oh man, I wasn't even thinking that at all. Gotcha.
Yeah, that dude.
So wait, you're dedicating your MVP season to the short guy from the Mini-Me?
No, I mean, I just misunderstood the question you asked me. So
no. So how did you step all over this guy to get to where you are with this MVP award?
I completely just misunderstood what you said.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this has been good. But speaking
do I need to cut this part out? I think it's hilarious.
No, not at all. I'm on the other end going, I have no idea who this Vern guy is. I don't know what this.
Yeah, you think I'm just talking about some cowboy like who I actually Yeah, railroaded. I got you.
You're at some club hanging out. There's playmates there, and this really short guy from the movie shows up, and he has something to do with the MVP award you just received. Okay, I'm following it now.
Yeah, I just completely missed the question you asked me. So
yeah, that's all right. I mean, that happens. But I have something even better.
Okay.
And it's actually even a better story. So since then, I learned of other awards that you can get for no other reason than you're just on a sports team, and you just now can get multiple awards. They just keep giving them out. So not only are you the MVP of this podcast, I am making you now. I have no way to get a trophy big enough. I don't know exactly how we can memorialize this, but you are now going to be the humanitarian of the podcast.
Wait, hold on.
You are now humanitarian of the year of the podcast. the biggest honor I can bestow on you or anybody.
Wait, hold on.
And so now you're not just an MVP, you've got a humanitarian of the year 2023 award.
But hold on.
And what?
Okay, so hold on. Time out though. I don't like in the NFL, it's the Walter Payton, right? And then in college, what is it? Is there a humanitarian award in the college football that's named after somebody who died of something? So the question is well,
you're not the Walter Payton Man of the Year if that's what you're. If you're
no, what I'm just saying is like who are we naming? But aren't humanitarian awards like named after somebody? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, so this should be the Vern Award from.
No, well, I mean, I wouldn't say no. I would absolutely not nominate him as the name of the humanitarian award.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm not casting aspersion. I'm just saying it should be someone a little more like like Sweetness, like like Peyton. So we got to think about somebody. Is there somebody in the universe that we've lost? That it could like be who's the award's named after, because then like we embody that greatness, right?
Maybe it could be someone that hasn't recently passed away, but someone from history.
Yeah.
So we'll have to think about this. Yeah, because you're right. It can't just be a humanitarian award just because I said so. It has to be after somebody.
Like who is somebody who has it could even be someone who is like got the potential to be a humanitarian, maybe isn't, but has the potential to be. So
right. Maybe someone who's underachieving humanitarian level status.
Oh my gosh, the underachieving humanitarian of the year.
Yeah,
that
you're just underneath. You're like that next tier below.
You're such a good person. You just don't do anything with it.
Yeah, you're not doing enough.
This is an awesome award.
Or you're not telling enough people how good you are. Something like that.
Right, because you're not doing enough SEO, and you're not grinding hard enough. Could it be the Gary V Underachiever Humanitarian of the Year? Oh my God.
I think that might be one right there. And speaking of Gary V, check this out. So by the way, I redid my whole studio. So now I moved.
Yay.
Because I had this whole awesome setup. I plugged in all this tech, plugged in, 25 different cables, figured it all out, cleaned up everything. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, this ain't going to work because I'm in a high traffic area.
Uh-oh.
I can't do these calls. I can't get on the pod. I can't create content. And so I moved the whole thing, and now I'm in a new location, and I'm still getting set up, but this is going to work out a little bit better because now I have my own space, and there won't be anybody walking through here, which is just absolutely fantastic.
That is exciting. That's exciting stuff. I'm glad you're able to get that all sorted. By the way, you sound
have something that I was thinking of Gary V, and I was listening to. I have like an acquaintance friend person that I follow online, and I was listening to some of his podcasts, or like YouTube videos, and he had some stuff in there I found interesting. But needless to say, I'm not gonna say who it is because he didn't give me permission to do so. However, I came across this video he had, and it was all about how short form video is becoming more popular. And he had some lady on that did some short form videos, and she was giving you tips on like how to publish this out to Twitter and TikTok and Instagram and all this stuff. And it was actually very, very, very educational. I found a lot. But as I was thinking of the short form video, Gary V like popped into my head, and I'm like, wait a second. If we went from long form video and now it's short form video is the future, listen, man, micro podcasts, baby.
Wow.
Micro podcasts. I'm talking about podcasts that are like 2 to 3 seconds long. That is where we should go with the show. Sports Buckaroo, micro pods. You get everything you need in 2 to 3 seconds a show. And you could still be an MVP.
Hey, Sports Buckaroos, fire Mike McCarthy. Like and subscribe.
But I'm telling you, micro podcasts are the new buying old VHS tapes.
Oh, my God.
This is a Gary V moment. You got to crush it. Get out there and crush it.
Now, if you aren't at your local TJ Maxx with a scanner on your phone, scanning barcodes, figuring out what you can drop ship for a $3 spread, you are missing out on becoming a millionaire.
Hey, man, let me tell you something. You know what that sounds exactly like? It was that auction website called eBay, where that's what people were doing. And then until everybody's like, this ain't going to work. And then it failed.
Oh, my gosh.
It's the same stuff repackaged. It's like, no.
Right.
If you want to buy that stuff, go to your own TJ Maxx and just buy it. You don't need to buy it from some rando on Twitter who just marked it up. Oh, man.
But what if there's not a TJ Maxx in your neighborhood?
Because so here's the thing. The reason you could do this back when eBay first was coming out in the 2000s, right? eBay got big because you could go to a store that existed on Cape Cod, as an example.
Sure. The
Christmas tree shops, okay? They only exist on Cape Cod. So I could go to the Christmas tree shops and I could buy these like dish towels that had lobsters on them, right?
Right.
And somebody who lives in Nebraska who's never seen the ocean would be like, wow, I've never seen dish towels with lobsters on them. And I love them because they remind me of what I think the Cape would be like. So I want those. And you couldn't go to the ChristmasTreeShops.com because it didn't exist yet. So you'd go to eBay and you could buy it and then you could make a profit, and everybody was doing it. But that was 20 freaking years ago.
Right. Now everything's like available.
But Gary V comes across as if he just thought of this idea.
You know what you really need to do? What you really need to do is have parents who are running a successful multi-million-dollar business. Then tell people that they need to pick themselves up by their bootstraps and that they should just grind harder because they don't have parents with $1 million operating business that you can just work on and stash cash away. Okay. And then, put $50,000 into some startup because it doesn't matter.
It's like this, and this is kind of related to social media, but it isn't quite the same topic. So I was listening to this other video that started after that video.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, what the hell? I'll just listen to this. And they were talking about Twitter and Elon Musk, and I have no idea who it is. I've never heard them before. It just came up. But he was telling the guy how he was on other platforms where he didn't do much with his Twitter, but he was able to get like 50,000 Twitter followers in a month.
Right.
And so without missing a beat, the guy's like, how did you do that? That's unbelievable. That's amazing. And then he said, well, some of the information I found online was kind of like it wasn't working, but I knew if I could just create a thread. Apparently the algorithm likes these threads, which is why you see everybody adding these threads. Okay. And I even have a friend that like blocked the little thread icon so he would stop seeing these because they're super annoying. Okay. But apparently the algorithm likes the thread.
Okay.
So that being said, he's like, I tried the threads, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't get many followers. He goes, but the thing that really blew up my account, what I did was I just contacted bigger accounts, and I just had them retweet my tweets, and I asked them to do that every 12 hours. So I could account for people who live in different time zones. And then everybody saw my tweets, and then I got like 60,000 likes, and just blew up my account, and I got 50,000 followers in a month. And without, the guy doesn't even ask, how did you even get in contact with any of these people? It was just like seamless. Oh, that's a great idea. I'm glad you could share that with us. I'm sure other people could use that bit of information. So like it just gets so dumb. And then so I think what we should do, we should publish this podcast and then tweet it out, and then just ask Elon Musk to retweet it every couple times a day. And then a lot of people will see it, and then we'll get a lot of followers. So I think that's a good idea.
Or what we could do is we could put our podcast on a shelf at TJ Maxx with a barcode. And then maybe Gary V would find it, scan the barcode, and try and resell it for a profit.
I like that idea better than having Elon Musk retweet our podcast. But if we want to get a lot of followers, we got to really think about having Elon Musk retweet us a few times.
Yeah.
Just to get it started. Because that was the advice I got from this guy on YouTube, and he has 50,000 followers.
Well, yeah, get more popular people on a social media platform to notice you and broadcast you. That is a great plan. I mean,
we should just get the guy.
How do you come up with that?
Vern. Let's get the short guy Vern to just be like our sponsor, our mascot. So just get in touch with him.
We can.
Have him bring over his bodyguards and the playmates, and
that was 25 years ago.
Get him involved. Oh, he's dead?
Yeah. You didn't hear?
Then it's got to be him, man. The Humanitarian Award. Come on. He cared so much.
The Underachieving Humanitarian of the Year.
I feel bad because my point still stands. It doesn't have to be him. We'll get Gary V. Gary V can help us out. We'll just get him to retweet our stuff.
Yes.
And we'll get popular.
And if he doesn't want to retweet us, he's just not grinding hard enough.
Yeah. If he's not retweeting us, he ain't grinding, man. He ain't putting in the work.
Yeah, he's got to put in his 4-hour work week and grind harder and retweet us.
Yeah, and if you need more capital, just go text your dad and say, hey, I need another $1 million for this venture. And your dad will be like, okay, man, but as long as you're crushing it. Are you crushing it? Yeah, thanks, Dad. Okay. I am crushing it. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to outwork everybody. Yes. We're just haters, I know, but
I don't hate anything.
Gary V, if you're listening, please retweet this.
I mean, if he has time from all the time he spends at the TJ Maxx looking for,
Oh man, if he's cruising, I'm gonna go to the TJ Maxx across town, and I'm gonna see if he's in there, or see if anybody's seen him lately.
Okay, speaking of things that are just absolutely annoying. The baseball pitch clock, it's getting worse.
Oh my God.
So we can pivot into a little bit of sports now, obviously. But
this is about sports, by the way.
But, but also, our human lives is also interesting to people. So the thing is that's how you get the likes and the follows and the subscribes and the notifications on the twits and the YouTubes. But
just have a bigger account, retweet you, and then you're good to go. Yep.
Awesome. I'm going to work on that. But I wanted to we talked about this on Sunday a little bit, but the baseball pitch clock thing, now they're stopping pitchers who are literally in the middle of throwing the ball. If the ball isn't leaving their hands by double zeros, right? So if they're in their middle of their windup, they're getting waved off and it's counted as a ball, right?
Yeah, this is it. So I have something else to say. I can't tell if people that are like for this on like Twitter or social media or the radio are being serious, or if they're kidding us that this is they like this. Like, I can't tell if people are being sarcastic or if everybody universally hates this, because I don't see how anybody is going to like this if this is how it's going to work the rest of the season.
Oh, I mean, there are going to be moments in games, and as you know, before the All-Star game, it's going to agitate people, right? People are going to be complaining. It's going to be on Twitter. There's going to be like a big old movement, like, hey, we need to do like a mid-season revision of this rule. This is terrible, right? And then when it gets to like crunch time, and you've got people who are losing their wild card spot over this, or losing a wild card game or a divisional series over a pitch clock violation, it is going to destroy the fan base. The fan base is going to lose their mind. Can you imagine? I mean, can you imagine Red Sox fans like if they lost to the Yankees on a pitch clock violation in the bottom of the ninth? I mean,
yeah, this is
can you imagine that?
Not going to be good. No, it's the thing that now that I'm seeing it, it just makes me realize how it didn't have to be like this to solve this problem. This is a solvable problem.
Right.
And that's if you think that having a pitcher that takes too long is a problem, let's just all assume,
sure,
for the sake of argument, everybody agrees that that's a problem. There was much simpler ways to resolve this than this stupid pitch clock. I cannot believe this got voted yes. It is so contrived. And now you have to see that stupid pitch clock in the shot, and it's just super annoying. It's like I don't want to see that. I don't even want to look at that. Like I don't get this at all. It is just an epic disaster, and it's just making baseball look pathetic and weak.
Yeah, it's just no fun. Like I think they're gonna have to address this.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna have to be. They're going to ruin baseball this year. It's gonna happen. They're gonna be enough fans that are just so agitated about this. It's going to be a running problem, and it's going to become like the NFL problem with like the rigged word, right? For the NFL, because it feels like every game, they're nudging it for the Chiefs to get into field goal range to win, right? It felt like that this season, right? And if it feels like that, it isn't just people making it up, right? It genuinely feels that way. Well, that means there's something going on, right? And so if baseball feels unwatchable or unpleasant, then people are going to turn it off. I mean, they're already teetering on people turning it off because people are just more interested in their phones and gaming and doing other things anyway. This is not going to make it more appealing. You're not going to get new baseball fans with this rule. And so I think they're just.
It's like here's the problem. Let's just get a little bit more esoteric. Let's just take this back a few steps, a few feet, whatever. My whole thing is, if I want to go chill out and just relax, why should I be forced to hurry through things? It's the opposite of what I want my experience to be. So why are we so concerned with the people who want to be rushed and don't want to relax and enjoy the game the way that it's intended to? Why is it that side is winning this argument that the game needs to be faster? Who exactly does this benefit in the long run?
I mean, I'll just be honest with you. I've watched baseball my whole life. I've never thought to myself, we need to speed this up.
Well, it's like I want to enjoy a pint of Guinness at the pub, and I'm going to be there for hours because I'm going to listen to the Irish music and the fiddle band and all that stuff, right? And the guy's like, no, you can only get shots because they're faster. You can't get a Guinness. It takes too long. Like that's like the equivalent of what they've done here. It's like, but wait, I just kind of want to chill out. And I want to relax. and I want it to take some time before that Guinness is ready.
Yeah.
To be put on the bar. And like, nope, actually, and you can only have 2 drinks and then you have to leave. So we have to get something else in here very quickly. I don't know, man. It just seems to me this is the opposite of what we want, is to just speed things up even more. And like have literally nothing that takes a long time. Like everything needs to just be like a micro podcast, which is why I think my idea is brilliant.
Micro podcast. That's the future.
Now that you start thinking about it.
Yeah, the future is minimalist micro podcasting.
See, listen, and then you could interview me.
Yeah.
And then I'll interview you, and I'll be like, oh, I have this. I'm actually with a Humanitarian of the Year and MVP award winner. I'd introduce you like that. But you could ask me like, hey man, how do you get so much done, Buck? Like, how are you getting all this done when most people get a fraction done? I'll be like, man, I listen to 30 podcasts a day, but I listen to micro podcasts. They're short, man. So I could listen to 30 and you're only listening to maybe 2 and I'm listening to 30. I'm just going to out-productivity you. I'm going to out-hustle you. Right. Because I'm getting more done in the same amount of time because my podcasts are a lot shorter.
Do you know how many podcasts I'm listening to in my 4-hour work week? I'm listening to so many podcasts in my 4-hour work week.
Yeah, like
that's how it works.
I'm not only subcontracting all my work out to a stranger in India, but I am literally listening to 3 to 4 times as many podcasts in my 4-hour work week. You know, think about that over the course of a year, how many that is. It's exponential growth.
So baseball, I mean, I think we're in trouble. I mean, obviously we're going to watch it this year. We're going to comment and everything, but I think baseball is in peril. I think it's going to be a very difficult year. And so I'm excited that we're doing this podcast because I think we will be at the forefront of documenting the decline of Major League Baseball with these stupid corporate rules. You know?
Yeah, I'm sort of done with baseball because I'm sort of done with the Red Sox. So maybe I need to find a different team. But I think the Red Sox have made it clear that they're not really all that interested in like growing the fan base and things like that, and like being nice to their customers and putting a good product on the field. I mean, it's just like I just think there's a sour taste in everybody's mouth. I just can't with the Red Sox anymore. I'm just done with them. So I'll have to find somebody else to root for.
Yeah, I feel like you know, that's why I'm so glad we're having these new leagues and this fun stuff because it just seems like a lot of the corporate nonsense is just making crap not as fun to watch.
Yeah, and I don't really want to be told. I mean, my rule is don't follow any of these people outside of the actual sport because you're going to be really disappointed and it's really none of your business. So but all the stuff that's coming out about Alex Cora, and the thing is, it's like I ain't disparaging anybody, but just the whole way that this Astros cheating scandal and Cora, everything was just swept under the rug, nothing to see here. Then more stuff comes out. And then I've got personal stories of people telling me that they've dealt with that guy out in the real world. And he's a world-class jerk. But then it all gets like brushed under the rug. And I'm not saying he's a jerk or not a jerk. I'm just saying people have told me he's not really nice in the real world.
Right.
And then all this stuff comes out about he's getting hammered all the time, you know, when he's flying between games and this and that and the other thing. But then the Red Sox just paint this like wonderful picture of it. None of that exists, and that's not the way it really is. And then we're just going to forget all the cheating, and we're going to forget the Astros, which, you know, that stuff's still coming up to this day. And now it's sort of like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we being lied to about everything all the time with this organization? And I think a lot of people feel like that with the Sox.
Well, I think everything just gets like, everything's so narrative driven, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like someone figured out that if we create the story that we're telling, then that's the reality. But the truth
Right.
is that reality doesn't reflect the story you're telling at some point. Just like,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't want to go pick up the, I don't want to pick up the rattlesnake on this or go down the rabbit hole, but you know, it's just like the unfortunate Jalen Carter, you know, Georgia world-class defender who's now in legal peril because they were celebrating their national championship and made some unfortunate decisions, right? And it's just a shame that, you know, the recruiter, the girl that was like, you know, the player recruiter who was hanging out with him and partying, like they were out at 2 a.m. and apparently they were doing some kind of shenanigans. Like they had 2 vehicles that were exceeding legal speeds. Maybe they were doing it for their own entertainment purposes. Who knows? I don't know all the details, but the point is, you know, it ended in tragedy. And like you said, to your point is, you know, it's hard to like drill down into the personal lives a little bit because, you know, you see these players and they're amazing on the field, and then they're human beings who are flawed just like all of us, and it just makes it an uncomfortable situation, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's very sad. It's very unfortunate, and it's tough because yeah, I know somebody, an acquaintance of a friend that got killed in one of these late night speeding accidents a few years back, and it's just a real shame because it's just so completely unnecessary, and you know, you're basically just killed yourself or killed the person for absolutely nothing, and it's a real shame.
Yeah, I don't know. I think one of the nice aspects, though, if I could try to find a silver lining in all of this, is
well, you are a humanitarian, so you're gonna
underachieving humanitarian of the year.
Yes.
So much potential. So
so much.
But I feel like and you know, it's just another topic I wanted to get into, which is kind of XFL, something I kind of stretch. But I feel like the XFL is doing a much better job of creating these player personas to keeping it in the shell of entertainment, you know, because like wrestling is very much like a persona rather than digging into the personal life, right? So like we weren't digging into the personal life of Hulk Hogan, right? We were digging into the persona of Hulk Hogan. And and even if his personal life skewed in, we were still like kind of had the mask of Hulk Hogan on him. I think the XFL is doing a great job of insulating these players through a persona dynamic much better than the NFL is doing, right? Like the NFL has kind of gone ESPN 30 for 30, and we've got to drill down into the nitty gritty of, you know, playing for, you know, mom who died of, you know, some bone marrow, you know, condition or something. You know, it's like all the heartfelt stuff, like the NBC Olympics crap. And I think the XFL is doing a good job of keeping keeping it very fan friendly, keeping it still positive and exciting, because once you get into the sordid details of someone's personal life, it's no longer entertaining, right?
Yeah, this is the veil that I think.
That's a good word.
Yeah, it's like a veil. It's not like, this is a little bit different than like the Wizard, where, you know, he's behind the curtain. This is more like a veil. It's just this constant drumbeat of what's really going on isn't really what's going on, and we want to control the narrative, and we want you to accept this illusion that this guy isn't a cheater and this guy isn't a creep, and this guy isn't a jerk, and this guy didn't beat the crap out of his wife or whatever, right?
Exactly.
But then it's like it's becoming harder and harder to keep this under wraps. Like, I'll tell you a funny story. I have a friend that had a friend that was in the TV radio business, and like she was telling me one time that if you hear something, then they can't hide it, because there's a lot of stuff that you don't hear that they hide. And how they do that is they essentially, you know, say you're never going to get access. So that's how they basically keep everybody in line. But like if something comes out that's bad, that's too big for them to cover, then it just becomes like, now how are we going to spin it, right? But there's a lot of bad stuff that happens with these local sports teams, and I'm not saying anything about anybody in particular. Needless to say, though, there are handlers that get on top of these things so that we never hear about them. Right. Let's just say that that's real for a fact. But something big comes out, they can't handle it, then it becomes like the spin machine. Like, are we even seriously still thinking like Alex Cora had nothing to do with the cheating scandal in Arizona? I mean, in Houston with the Astros? It's like, come on, man. Like, how are we being sold this nonsense? But like, you have to suspend disbelief. And I think to your point, it shouldn't be like that. In the XFL, it's kind of seems like they're trying to be cognizant of keeping this. I don't know if you want to say family oriented, but at least we shouldn't know about these guys and, you know, beyond this.
Well, the thing that, you know, rubs me wrong about the Major League Baseball is if we're going to just go ahead and gloss over this whole Alex Cora and the Astros cheating, and we're not going to like take the trophy away from them, and we're not going to kick these people out of the league, and we're not going to like prevent them from like being eligible for the Hall of Fame and all this stuff, right? If we're not going to do that, right, then we need to have a serious conversation about Pete Rose. And we need to have a serious conversation about Barry Bonds. We need to have a serious conversation about McGuire, right? We need to have a serious conversation about all of these people who have, I guess, been vilified, rightly or wrongly. I'm not saying that they didn't do things that were untoward. I'm just saying that if we're going to gloss over this generation's, you know, corrupt people or broken people or cheaters or whatever it is, like how can you maintain a narrative of vilifying Pete Rose, you know, because he violated the integrity of the game? He didn't even bet on his own team, right? He just bet on other teams, right? But how do you maintain that as a position from a high horse and a moral authority, and then you just gloss over the Alex Cora stuff? It's like, yeah, he just moved to another team and whatever. You know. Well,
the thing about it is you can, if you listen to enough corporate sports media, you can rationalize anything. Like I'm never going to not root for the Sox because that's my team and I love baseball and that's the end of it. So basically there isn't anything that these guys couldn't do, and there will still be apologists for them, the league, the team, the organization, whatever. But for me, the whole Astros thing, that's when I was like, I'm done. I can even tell you, it was the press conference that they did when they brought Alex Cora back in. I said, I'm just done with this team. Now, I didn't care that he served a year suspension. I'm like, this is a complete joke. I don't care about this anymore. That was like when I just ended my relationship with the Sox. I mean, that was the moment where I'm like, I am not supporting this team anymore. So,
yeah, and I'll
still talk about baseball and I'll still follow it.
Yeah,
but I'm not actively. I would not consider myself a Sox fan at this point.
Right,
I'm just done with it.
Yeah, and it's kind of similar to how I feel about kind of what, you know, the Jones family has done with the Cowboys. They've you know, systematically just let us down for 30 years, right?
Right.
After getting it so right, you know, they made some mistakes at the beginning with how they handled Landry and all that, but then they you know, they got it right. They built a champion, and then they've just been coasting on their laurels, just high on the hog, not doing nothing. And it's like, I don't know, it's just like the drunk husband who's like, man, we had a real good, wedding night, didn't we? And it's like, okay, but but a marriage is not a wedding night, like we gotta, yeah, our honeymoon was awesome.
The good old days when we first got married on that one day.
Yeah, remember our 2-week honeymoon to Bali? Remember that, honey? Forget that I'm like passed out in the front yard and I'm overweight, and they're kind of coming repo my F-150. Forget all that. We had an amazing honeymoon. Back when I used to work out.
Funny story. Apparently that happened to one of my neighbors who doesn't live too far from here. Ended up drunk on his front yard and.
Oh my God! I thought you meant his vehicle was repoed.
Needless to say, he got fired apparently, and it didn't go over well. And apparently, I think they could still get you for drunken driving even if you're not in your vehicle, if they can prove that you drove it. So apparently, from what I understand, and I'm not going to say who this is, but needless to say, apparently this guy ended up.
You heard a story.
Front yard passed out, and then it all went downhill from there.
So,
but yeah, man, this is the thing.
I need you to stop listening to 90s pop rock. That's called My Own Worst Enemy. The band was lit. Okay. Like you're really reciting. Okay. I'm going to rescind your podcast content creation card because you're literally taking 90s pop songs and turning them into stories as if they are what's the word? Anecdotes. You're creating fictional anecdotes out of 90s pop songs. I create truth out of real stories, but I am not a humanitarian in training. I am not at that level. Right. Like you're below whatever underachieving is, right?
I'm the floor.
You're like seminal. Like you're still in the seed, right?
Yes.
You haven't what is it? You haven't germinated yet.
No. Correct.
Gotcha. Awesome. So, all right, let's get into a little bit of XFL chitter chatter, if that's okay, because that's the big league. I mean, obviously March Madness is coming up, and we can kind of get into that in the next couple of weeks. And hockey's starting to heat up a little bit because of the trade deadline. Great, that's this next week. Maybe we could, but Well,
then we'll also have draft because the combine just started.
Oh yeah, combine. Oh my God, I'm so not interested in the combine. But
did you know, by the way, just speaking of the combine real quick, and I know because you're not into it, but the whole premise of some of the stuff that they make these guys do, it's just completely made up arbitrary stuff.
Silly.
Like it doesn't tell you anything other than how fast this guy's 40 is. It's like, okay, so anybody that runs a fast 40, I guess, is an NFL ready player. I guess you ran a fast 40.
Well, what I don't understand is, okay, to me, the truth is this is like a big excuse to like party in Indianapolis where the bars stay open till 3 a.m. for the NFL execs, right? They get their per diem. They get to quote unquote gather data, to justify their jobs, right? I'm just saying.
No, it's because the reason I bring it up because it's just so dumb, and I'm not. Okay, I got to be careful. I'm not saying that the people who have make a livelihood training people and like are bad and they're dumb. They're not. But the whole combine is now just been, it isn't even about football. It's like, I need to go to a sprint coach to teach me how to get out of the blocks fast so I can have a better 40 time. Right. I'm never going to do in an actual NFL game. So it's like, this is like, I got to bench 225 if I'm really short or if I'm really long or if I'm really tall or if I'm really whatever. It's like this, what is this actually telling you? It's like he can bench press a lot. Like, well, okay. But so why do we even need to evaluate? Let's just use these combine numbers. Let's just say if you've got a 4.42, then that means anybody with a 4.43 goes to the back of the line.
Oh, how about this?
And we just take the fastest guys first.
No.
And if you can do more 225 reps, we take you. over somebody who can do less. And that's how we're just going to draft you.
But here's my question though, right? which is why isn't that data actually like plugged into a salaries spectrum where it's like,
right,
if you don't qualify, if you don't get at least a 4.6 or whatever, or if you don't get a 4.5, then you can't, your contract can't exceed this amount, right? Like if there was if they had to perform to a certain level in order to achieve certain financial, so then it's like, oh my gosh, this guy was the best at the combine. He can like have an unlimited contract after his rookie year, or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. I'm telling you, you know what the combine is? Do you know what the only reason they do this combine? Can you guess what I'm thinking that this is?
So I will Google what the word combine means and find out that it has something to do with farming.
No, I'm not even. It does. I'm not even. It's not something you can look up.
Okay.
Who's the guy with the puffy hair that does the draft on TV?
Mel Kiper?
Oh yeah, Mel Kiper Jr. Okay. The entire reason that the combine exists is so that Mel Kiper Jr. has more words that he can repeat when he's talking about a guy. Because if you didn't have these numbers, he'd be like, he played for Iowa, he's a wide receiver. And then they'd be like, okay, they'd be on to the next guy. But now we could say, he plays for Iowa, wide receiver. He did 10 reps at 225, 4.42 speed, and he's getting a 6.3 in the three-pointer. It just, now I can add a whole bunch of stuff.
Jargon.
It's just extra data that I can now add that if I didn't have, it would just be like, he's a good player from Iowa. Next. Like, that isn't going to work for Mel Kiper Jr. So you have the combine. So he could be like, look, he ran a 4.6 in the 40. Not his best, but this other guy didn't even do the combine. So up compared to other guys, running 4.4s, 4.3s. I don't know what that looks like. So he can he can add 30 seconds of content just by comparing like the 4.4 speeds of two different people. So like, I'm just telling you, this is just giving him words. That's all this is for. Okay.
Okay, so this gives me an idea. The NFL draft is Thursday, April 27th through Saturday, April 29th. And so they've changed the format and they've made it kind of like, it used to be just a grind, right? Where they would grind it out all day. Yep. And then they turned it into a 2-day thing. And then finally they've made it like the first round is like some TV show. But that's just giving me an idea. Since we have a podcast and the capability of live streaming, if you were available on the 27th, a Thursday night, would you be interested in actually live streaming our NFL draft? And then, we could basically get in on the Mel Kiper game. Do you know what I mean? We could
that's why
we could actually build a mock draft.
Yes.
Why don't we could build a mock draft, and say, oh man, I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to trade up for CJ Stroud because someone on Twitter said so. And
this is another thing he does that I'm gonna do. Now that I think of it. So basically, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like him being taken at 30 there. 30. I see him more as a second in the second round. I see him more as like top of the second, not quite bottom of the first. And he used that one.
I'm not sure what Cincinnati's doing with this valuation of their late first round pick. They could have gotten this linebacker in a better value proposition, probably around the middle of the second round. They could have traded down, built in a little bit of depth in their secondary.
Are they gonna trade up, trade down? Maybe go from the late in the first to early second. Maybe he goes mid third. Maybe they wait for a guy in the fourth. Maybe they're gonna trade up, trade down. So we'll see trade up, trade down quite a bit. No, once you know how the game is played, you just do what they do. It's like I didn't really see him at 15. I saw him more coming in at 17, maybe 16, but not 15. 15, I think that's a little bit too early. I would have liked the Bears to trade down there, maybe get him at 18. Maybe he'll still be available. Oh my God. It's
If
so
this is the guy
ridiculous.
you want, you got to move up now. The Eagles got to make a move now. If this is the guy you believe in, you put all your chips in. You made the Super Bowl last year. You fell just short. This is the missing piece. The Eagles got, I can't believe they let the Chicago Bears sneak in there and take that pick. What were they thinking?
Oh man. Well, look, the Chicago Bears traded down from the 2 spot to the 1 spot and the 1 spot to the 2 spot. And it looks like they still got their guy. CJ Stroud's going to go number 1 now. I like that. I think we're clear. That's the top pick. I think everybody agrees. And it's like, look, I want you to tell me exactly who's going to which team and exactly the spot they're going to go in. Anybody can just say, we predict like one of these 3 guys will be the top pick. I mean, that's not that hard to do.
Well, I will give Mel Kiper credit for one.
I like him. Don't get me wrong.
I'm going to give him credit for one thing. Okay. He believes in the BS he's spewing. He 100% believes his own BS. I love that about him.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe he's right in some universe that I don't understand, like just like, C++ or whatever it is. Like, I don't, if maybe he's a genius, possibly. And I'm just too stupid to get it. But I'll give him credit for this. Year after year, he's relevant and still like doing the research. Whereas ya boy, Tony Romo, he has fallen off to the wayside because apparently he was really savvy about players that he played with a few years ago. And then now that there's like all new players and new coaches and new schemes, he's having a lot harder time like predicting stuff because he hadn't studied for any of this new, so he's not doing any of the same kind of preparation on these new things. And so this leads me to believe that he would be a terrible like offensive coordinator coach, right? Because he'd be stuck in how he thought of the game 20 years ago and not actually playing against his opponent in real time. Do you know what I mean? He'd be like, oh yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs, they're gonna be throwing to their tight end here. It's like, yeah, that was when they had Travis Kelce, dude. This is a completely different team now. It's like, he's just anyway. So that being said, I will give Mel Kiper credit that at least he does like have a team of researchers that fills him with all this data garbage.
Well, and I actually find I enjoy listening to him. Because I can't tell if he's being like I can't tell if it's a satire of himself or if that's really him just being him. Yeah. Because like he's got such a unique voice, personality, the haircut, everything. He's so unique that I can't tell if it's now a parody of himself or if that's still legitimately him. I lean towards it's still legitimately him.
See, I would love Mel Kiper Jr. to like get into politics because I would just love him to be describing like, bills and all the things where you're like, oh, we really got to get this agriculture pharma bill through, It'd be hilarious.
But the thing about it is, and totally he'd be fantastic in politics. The thing is though, once you've got the thing is, I'm not saying that his recollection of like the past drafts and all the players isn't very good. I'm going to say, I truly believe that he's researched these players. I'm not diminishing any of that. But the thing is, though, once you have all the players graded, what he is doing is super simple because he's just basically saying, these are the players we think will go in the first. These are the players we think will go in the second. And these are the players that will go in the third, fourth, or whatever. Right. Then all you really need to say is, like, he's in the ballpark based on where these players are taken. This is not like, that's what I'm saying. You got to give me a list of exactly who's going where, because otherwise it's just these ranges and grades. Yeah. And it's super easy because you're just saying, yeah, this guy could go anywhere from the middle to the end. And you'd still be like, oh, yeah, I could see him there. That's a great pick for them. They're picking it 21. Yep, he goes there. Well, sure, because now you just got to be somewhere in the ballpark. But I want to know exactly where you're going to put these guys ahead of time. And I want to see if there's any guys that go way later because everybody goes, once you don't get picked, my point is you're getting pushed later. So there's only 32 picks. So you just got to you don't even have to hit all of them. You just have to hit 20 of them, which will be super easy in the first round, and then just be kind of close. If he gets picked at 13 versus 17, what difference does it make? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's like, no one's going to vilify Mel Kiper Jr. because, some linebacker got, picked three teams later. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
He's like, well, I guess Seattle had to fill their offensive line need, so they let Micah Parsons slip. What a gift for the Dallas Cowboys. Like what,
And
okay.
It's sort of like this, and this happens all the time, but this is a little bit more next level. But it's sort of like, okay, Seattle's on the clock. They need a linebacker. They're going to need an offensive right guard, and they're going to need a kicker. And then they pick a quarterback. Oh, yeah, good pick. And he immediately is like, it wasn't even close to what you said they needed to take. But he goes right into it. Like, oh, great pick here. Like this pick. This guy gives you versatility. He's got height. He's got a cannon for an arm. He can see the field well. Then he goes on that spiel.
Yeah.
But he was completely wrong. Mel is very good at pivoting when he picks it completely wrong.
Clearly, the scouts like what they see. They feel like the rest of the league is sleeping on this QB. They think he's going to come in right behind Geno Smith, and he's going to be the future, and they're going to get him on a rookie contract for 4 years. This is a very savvy selection. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised they didn't play it safe here, but, no risk, no reward. It's like, okay, you got it, Mel Kiper. Thank you.
No, it's like once you kind of figure out what he's doing, it's really kind of formulaic. But I find it interesting to listen to him.
Cool. Well, maybe we can have a little fun with it on round one night Thursday if you're free.
So. Nice. Yeah, just remind me. We'll get ahead of it. And now that I have the new space here, it'll be a lot easier.
Awesome. Hey, okay, so I'm enjoying the XFL. I know there was like some controversy with like the field in Las Vegas being just a total crap show. But other than that small little caveat of it's a starter league. Like let's give it a I don't think we need to hate on it.
We've also determined that Vegas shouldn't have a team, so we're not going to worry about the field conditions at all.
Yeah, basically just because I think they got lulled into the idea of Vegas Vipers, and they're like, oh, this is really simple, But this week we've got our 4 matchups. I'll kind of go over them real quick if you like. We've got 1 game on Saturday and 3 slated for Sunday. That would be a early kickoff, a middle kickoff, and a late kickoff. So a full day of football on Sunday in March is kind of interesting. Saturday night.
So let's see, the Saturday game is at 7 p.m.
Yes, Eastern.
That is the Seattle Sea Dragons and the Vegas Vipers. And then we have 3 games on Sunday, yes.
Yeah, so the Sea Dragons are a 3-point favorite over the Vipers in the Cashman Crapfield Bowl. So I feel like the Sea Dragons are one of those teams that is talented enough to be winning these games and just undisciplined enough to be losing them.
Yep.
And the Vipers, I think, are kind of on the verge of losing their swagger just because of the predicament of being. I saw the social media team was like, "Hey, games that." On Saturday, no rain, they're like, it's like, please come to the game. We've got good weather. Come on. So they know it was a disaster.
These are 2 bad teams, I think. The Vegas Vipers and the Seattle Sea Dragons. I think they're fighting it out for worst teams in the league. So this could be interesting.
I think there are basically 3 terrible teams and 5 pretty darn good teams.
Yeah.
So the 3 terrible teams are the Vipers, the Guardians, and the Dragons. And then you've got the really good teams, which are the Battlehawks, Roughnecks, and then Renegades, Defenders, and then Brahmas. So Yeah. So, how do you feel about this? So, do you think the Sea Dragons are better or worse than the Vipers?
I think the Seattle Sea Dragons are worse.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to take the Sea Dragons over the Vipers. And I feel like what's going to happen is I feel like morale is just going to fall off for those Vegas Vipers players. And they are looking forward to getting to the casino or the strip club after the game.
Yes.
Because they should get to stay Saturday night and fly back Sunday. So I think they're just going to plan on having a lot of fun. The Sea Dragons should right the ship, in my opinion. They're a 3-point favorite, but we'll see how it turns out. Sunday.
They should have a team called something Rhinos in Vegas.
Oh my gosh! Yes,
like you said, a chewing gum flavor Rhinos Vipers.
Yes,
in Vegas or something.
That would be.
It shouldn't be the Vipers. It should be the something Rhinos.
Oh my God!
Of Vegas,
dude. In fact, why isn't it like they should be like. Or they could even be the Strip, right? But it would have a Rhino logo. It could be the
correct.
Vegas.
It'd be like
Strip.
Branded. Yes.
How is it? How is that not a team name? The Vegas Strip with a Rhino logo. Oh my God!
This is so bad.
I might mock that up for our social media. We might make hats or jerseys or something. The Vegas Strip. Okay, it has to be like purple for some reason, like purple and neon.
Again, this is the problem with having a team in Vegas is it just the jokes never end. This is why you can't. This is just not a serious city because of the fact the Strip is there. You just can't. This team needs to be moved to like Oklahoma City or something. I'm sorry.
I get it. So then we've got the early game on Sunday will be the very dominant A.J. McCarron-led St. Louis Battlehawks versus the D.C. Defenders. D.C.'s actually a 2.5-point favorite, even though the Battlehawks have been super impressive in both of their wins. So this is two undefeated teams. How do you feel this one's going to shake out?
Well, I think the St. Louis Battlehawks might be the best team in the league. That is my guess right now. They're not my favorite team. I think A.J. McCarron has a bug up his butt in terms of wanting to prove his worth and value. Yeah. I think he's focused. He's locked in. Family guy. Doesn't have any distractions. It just seems like he is just all in. And that's why I just think they're the best team in the league right now.
It blows my mind that someone like Tannehill is an NFL quarterback and A.J. McCarron is not. Like, I just don't understand the NFL at all.
Well, see, let's talk about the Tannehill for just a second because I find him interesting.
Okay.
I think that I think some of these guys get drafted in the correct year. And if they were drafted in other years, they might not be in the league. I just think Tannehill being drafted and then Miami spending all that time with him. And sometimes I just think certain guys don't get a fair shake depending on when they come in, and other guys get more than a fair shake and are just not really that much better than other guys.
Yeah.
It's just, I think he falls into that category.
Yeah. And I think it's also like what team you get drafted to, how they've slotted you. And then if they've got a good QB coach or a QB room, maybe you benefit. If not, you don't. And so I think
let's face it, I'm not saying Tannehill is a bad quarterback.
No, not at all.
I'm just saying he's just like a middle quarterback. But my point was, like, he didn't work out at Miami. Then he goes to the Titans. But the thing about it is, though, look at the numbers. Look at the running back numbers over the course of 2 years. They're off the charts.
Yep.
And so it's like, did it really have, is Tannehill really making any difference there? I would argue that he's not. It's not
a bus
Tannehill
driver
at all.
mean, he's a
Yeah,
competent
and he's
bus
not
driver.
even a good bus driver. You could probably get a better bus driver. I think Derek Carr would probably have more success.
Oh
there
man,
than Tannehill.
Derek Carr in Tennessee would be awesome. I sign me up for that.
Yeah, that would work.
All right, so I'll probably go with the Battlehawks as well. I just believe in AJ McCarron.
Yep.
All right, so then the game that I kind of want to go to, but I won't, is the Orlando Guardians at the Arlington Renegades here in the DFW. It will be on. Let's say Arlington is an 8-point favorite. So clearly, the Guardians get no love. I think even their head coach said, "I need different guys. This team's terrible." So, what say you?
Sorry about that. I was just getting blown up by text messages that I can't seem to shut off.
That's all right.
That being said, I'm going to take the Renegades over the Guardians.
Yeah, I just feel like the Guardians are just I feel like they're the garbage of the league. The Orlando Garbage might be a better name for them.
Yeah, I think Arlington is the team that could pull it together. I think that they could be my second top team, maybe.
Okay.
I think they need a little bit more. They're my favorite team that I'm rooting for, and I think it could end up being, and I don't know, I don't have the playoff format in front of me, so forgive me. Okay. But I could see like Arlington and St. Louis going far this year.
Yeah, that could be a fun matchup. I think so. Then the late game would be the San Antonio Brahmas versus the Houston Roughnecks. Now, the Houston Roughnecks have never lost a game in the XFL and iteration 1.0 or 2.0. They are a 4.5-point favorite over the Brahmas. The San Antonio fans are awesome. They might travel well to Houston. Houston fans are also pretty rambunctious. This might actually be a really well-attended game.
Yeah, and I think San Antonio, it needs to win this. They need to stay relevant. I think you're right. This is going to be a good game, and I think both teams really want this.
Yeah, it feels like the teams that break out to 3 wins, basically the Roughnecks could get to 3, and either the Battlehawks or the Defenders could get to 3. So really, you're going to have you got a couple of 3-win teams. You might only have one 3-win team if the Brahmas take over the Roughnecks. So, and then you'd have kind of a nice jumble of 2-win teams. You'd have like 4 2-1 teams, which would be basically, they've got parity in the XFL. They got a little parity going on. Because, nobody wants to see a team go full Miami Dolphins and just go undefeated and, win the whole league. That would kind of suck.
Yeah, I am getting killed by these text messages. I'm sorry. I cannot figure out how to shut these off.
It doesn't matter. I can't hear them.
And so I'm hearing ding, 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 ding. So I'm just having trouble following you.
I haven't heard a ding at all. So.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. Okay. Oh, there's another one.
Yeah, it's not ding. It's not dinging.
Well, I don't understand how to mute. You can't. There doesn't seem to be a way to mute this text on the actual Apple.
Yeah, so what you do is you go to Do Not Disturb.
On the phone, I can do it in a second, but how the heck do I mute this?
You go to your little clip button to the left and flick it to where it's red.
Yeah, but it doesn't flick because it's my computer screen.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't figure out how to mute it, so it just keeps.
Oh, is it coming? Oh, so you're getting texted on your computer?
Yeah, it's going. How the stupid.
Oh gosh, yeah, the iMessage.
It's absolutely awful. So the thing is, I have it muted on my phone. I'm not getting it on my phone, but it's going through the computer, and there's no mute. There doesn't seem to be anywhere to mute these.
There is. You got to go into you got to go into the app, and then you go into preferences, and you basically turn off notifications.
Oh God.
Yeah, I can show you that later. No big deal.
Oh yeah. So I'm glad everybody could listen to me try to figure this out.
That's all right.
But it's funny because I specifically said I'm gonna mute this particular text thread that I'm on because I know I was going to be on the award-winning MVP show, and now it's coming through my computer and I can't figure out how to stop it.
That's awesome. Hey, I just got a text message that nobody heard. I'm going to see.
What?
From a good friend. Yeah,
oh, nice.
So I'm going to read that while you're dealing with your.
Well, I'm not dealing with it.
Oh, okay.
Because I can't. I'm just going to ignore it.
You're just going. Oh, I got you. It's just agitating.
Going to ignore it because then I'm going to have to keep looking like, how do I shut this off? I'm going to figure this out though.
So
tech.
Yeah, it's all good. And then you'll get the, you know what, you're going to get most improved techie award at the end of the season.
Yeah, and I hate to say you're not gonna believe it, but I am relatively tech savvy.
Oh, I know you are.
I am not. I was a late adopter of Apple. What do you call it? Apple computers, and so I never really had a Mac or anything like that. Yeah. So finding where things are to make things stop takes me a little bit longer than on the other one.
Well, to me, it sounds like you're feeling like the Brahmas will be the first to upset the Houston Roughnecks. Is that what you're going with?
I'm not saying they're going to upset them, but
you're gonna milk hyper this. You're gonna be like, oh, this is a good opportunity for the Brahmas. But
listen, I see the Brahmas coming in and either winning or losing. If they lose, it's not because I didn't tell you so. If they win, I'm gonna take credit for that. I could see them winning. I could see them also losing.
Awesome.
See how it's done.
Well, I feel like the Roughnecks are pretty much unstoppable. It's going to be like an injury or some incompetence in some other arena that is going to be the only thing that slows them down. They're just a train right now. So I'm going to go with the Roughnecks.
Nice.
And then, even though I do like the Brahmas, I think they're a fun team. All right, so we've got the XFL all picked out. I wanted to just kind of button up with a couple of things. There is a Mexican food restaurant here in Texas that literally was one of the original Mexican food restaurants, around. And believe it or not, it's called The Original. That's the name of the restaurant. Okay. Now, What's cool about this is President Roosevelt actually visited Texas and dined there during some kind of conference. There was some big conference and was in town for like 2 weeks, supposedly, and was a big fan of the original Mexican food restaurant. And he ordered, back then, it's kind of like way more a la carte. You could just order a this and a that and an enchilada and a taco and a tamale, all that stuff, right? And so every night he would go and have dinner at the original Mexican restaurant here. And so
nice.
He basically ordered the same thing every night. And by the end of the 2 weeks, they decided to name this little combination of items that he ordered, and they made it a plate, and it's called a Roosevelt Special. And so it's like, just iconic. It's iconic Tex-Mex food, Texas. Well, it turns out there's now this land labor dispute for the building. The owner and the restaurant owner are like now in a tussle because of this new regentrification thing that's going on all over the world. Well, it's even happening here in Texas. And so the landlord is booting out the original Mexican restaurant. This is a big old dust up, right? It's like, oh my God. So anyway, they've relocated to another famous location of another restaurant that kind of got walloped during the pandemic. And so all is not lost. The recipes and everything. It's just the actual location will be no longer the original location. Okay. That being said, long story. Thank you for listening. I am going to be sending you the salsa from the original Mexican food restaurant.
What?
Yeah. So they have actually developed a bottling process for their salsa, and I'm going to tell you, It is spot on. It tastes as fresh and as amazing as when you're at the restaurant. And it's low in sodium, phenomenal. It's only 5%. It's amazing. So I'm going to send you a bottle of the original salsa, okay? And
Wow.
and it's going to stay, the restaurant's going to sustain in a new form. So this will be a product that can be bought, by anybody out there who wants to try it, obviously. But what I would like you to do is I'd like you to try it with some masa chips that are that are seed oil free and made in
beef tallow.
So I believe that this combination, because the chips actually at the original are very good and also very beefy and yummy. So I know for a fact this would be a beautiful combination. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to send you a bottle in the next week or so.
Yes, baby.
And then I'm going to have you do a little review of the flavor of the salsa, but obviously with the masa chips. So I thought that would be kind of a cool thing to do.
So can I tell you a story about salsa? And that is awesome. And this is going to make it even more awesome.
Yes.
So you may not know this, but I am actually an expert salsa maker. So one of the dishes that I make that's just insanely good is fresh salsa. And the reason that I'm good at this is because a long time ago, my neighbors and I, there was about 5 of us, we planted a garden that we tilled the soil and we planted the garden and we put all the tomatoes in and they ended up all coming up at the same time because we just put them in on the same day.
Yeah.
So I had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tomatoes and we couldn't figure out anything else to do with them. So I started making literally half gallons worth of fresh salsa.
Yum.
Let me just tell you something ridiculous. So I really appreciate the fact I'm getting some salsa because I am a salsa guy.
And well, let me just tell you, salsa from the original Mexican food restaurant. It's about as pure flavor of a salsa that you will ever experience. I don't know if there's a better one out there on the planet.
How are we gonna mesh the masa chip sponsorship with the originals? We gotta get these together somehow.
Well, so that's the thing is, at some point I'm probably gonna reach out to these guys as well to see if they would be like to glom on to what we're cooking here at Sports Buckaroo. So that's the idea,
right? Because
right now I'm just plugging them for free, but obviously, I kind of want to throw it out there that people need to be experiencing the best there is out there. And this really is the best out there.
You just got to understand something about masa chips, our first sponsor, and they're fantastic. This is a sturdy chip. This is not a chip that falls into all kinds of crumbs. This is going to hold up a serious amount of salsa. So these things are made for that. So that's why I'm saying this could be a really good combination. Really good.
Yes. So, like I said, I'm going to get that out over the next week, and then you can enjoy it to your heart's content and tell me what you think about it.
This is even better than being a humanitarian and MVP.
Yeah.
Having
absolutely.
salsa, man. Woo.
Right.
Love it.
Yeah, that being said, all right, I've had an absolute blast. I know we had a little bit of a scheduling snafu over the last day or so, but I thought overall this has been phenomenal, and I wouldn't change a thing. So
nice. Well, I am working. I'm getting some additional tech that I didn't tell you about. And I am upgrading a couple things here on the microphone side, and I'm gonna get my signal like perfectly broadcast quality eventually. This is gonna be sounded really good.
Well, when you level up to the Insta360 link webcam, we'll be able to do a monthly video podcast that we could put out there as well.
Yes, and I am going to. So you know how like when people do podcasts, they regretfully or regrettably, I'm not exactly sure which word would be best, but they regrettably do them in their bedroom with like the closet door open and the ceiling fan on. It's not a good look. So I'm basically trying to get like a legit background set up here.
Yeah.
That'll kind of reflect the mood properly. So I'm going to work on that as well.
That
So we'll get
awesome.
some stuff going.
This is fun. See, like, you know, going from season 2, you know, proof of concept, to season 3 where we're level, you know, season 3 is the get ready with me season. We're glowing up.
Yes.
And it's going to be a lot of fun. So I want to say thank you to everyone out there in Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcast land, on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. Please like, share, follow, subscribe, pass us along to all your buddies. If you are like us, where you want to have normal, real people conversations and not argue over ridiculous listicles of who the best quarterback is, who the top 5 quarterbacks are before 1973.
Zappy's better than Mac Jones. Can you talk about that, please?
Yeah, like basically, we live squarely outside the narrative. Never shill, never shy, and we are asking you to join us in having a very sensible conversation about sports and life in general.
And if you're from New Hampshire, we're asking you to join us or die. You'll get that reference.
That's hilarious.
Yes, it is.
Right. Or if, for example, you decide you see some masa chips out there, use your Buckaroo code.
I got to get that link.
Come and take it.
Link.
Yeah,
go get it.
Come and take it.
Take it.
So we did a New Hampshire and a Texas saying. We should convert all of the state slogans into like branding opportunities.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. So all of you in Missouri, show me your love. Show me that you support the Sports Buckaroo. I do actually, and if you're in New Jersey and you feel like gardening, you can listen to us while you're gardening. So,
and the funny thing is, there are no gardens in New Jersey. So I don't even get that. I don't even know what that means.
Well, I think it's more of like the old like British term of garden, which would mean just pruned landscaping. It's not really.
Oh my God! There are a lot of swamps in Jersey. So, and there's a lot of
places to dispose of unreasonable things. Yeah, I got you. I'm tracking. I read The Godfather. It's a great novel. So, all right, I'm gonna hop off. Thank you so much for my MVP trophy. It's glorious. Yes. I'll post the video later. And are we gonna get together on Sunday? Maybe.
Yeah, we will. I just need to check the schedule to just make sure I know which hour we can do that, or which time slot.
Sounds fabo. I appreciate you so much. I'll put this together and get it up in the next 24 hours, and we'll be rocking. Thanks, everybody out there in the universe and World Wide Web.
We out.
See you, Buckaroo.
Later.